What do you mean penguins are having an effect on Burst Protocol? So make sure you guys smash the crap out of that penguin button so you guys don't miss out more on level 5 penguin, level 5 penguin. Oh boy. You know what that means. We get access to canines. So one of the first variants that I have seen coming out of the woodwork was the concept and idea of what if we bring, canine to the table for this. Now somebody's gonna be like, well, why? Why are we trying to bring canine into everything? Level 5 access. Level 5 access? Okay. One other variant, don't worry, alright. There's been some other decks that have had success. There was a successful Goaty version with the new level 1 Penguin. You would play triple of the continuous or field spells, one of the two, I can never remember, and 3 of the new level 1 Penguin that you could splash into Goaty because, guess what? It's basically generic water access at that point. But then you got Canine on the other side of the table out here, doing a little bit more fun with the Glacial Penguins, the level 5 Penguin, and it's pretty interesting. Honestly, I didn't think that Burst Protocol would allow penguins a chance to do well. I saw one end up winning a Yu-Gi-Oh! Day out of Japan, and I'm still sitting here in awe, going, wow, penguins actually performed. Obviously, in the current day and age, you need some sort of supplemental package to kind of carry this. I mean, your first example was Goaty. Your second example is, Canine. Both of these packages allow penguins a chance to, do well in the meta. Appreciate what generic cards can actually hold up and do in the current meta. I really appreciate that, man. That's really, really cool. I'm happy to hear penguins doing well. Now there's a Centurion over here. So, Elven Notes have been doing some, I want to say, spooky things as of late. There is the concept that Elven Notes obviously is able to use the generic synchro good stuff, which does kind of open up the doors, but you know what else is generic synchro? Diabellstar and Friends. So, what if we took Elven Notes, combined them with Centurion, combined them with Diabellstar, and you get this concept package that works together. Now, I also have seen the Armades and the Fiendsmith package also being splashed into Elven Notes. Right now, Elven Notes in its early conceptual phase is, I think, doing kind of, developing and coming together in an interesting way. Also, I mean, it just kind of, if you're splashing together Elven Notes, Centurion, and the Diabellstar stuff, this just kind of turns down into the how much can I spam this gosh darn Crimson Dragon and do its thing. I've seen a lot of Cosmic Blazars in these lists, man. But to be fair, I mean, you're playing Centurion as a whole, getting access to Crimson Dragon is easy. It's just, you're going to really inconvenience your opponent. And that's exactly what you need to do. Outside of that, hey man, having Centurions on a watch list for something like a new Modern Era Synchro pile is really, really cool. I do want to see, because, actually Elven Notes is a pretty cool deck. Dark Lords, Bo and Melodious. So, where do I begin with this concept? So I saw this come out of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Day, and straight off the bat, you are playing a supplemental package within Dark Lords to basically set up some interruptions through the Melodious pieces. We acknowledge that. But does this inconvenience the Dark Lord cards at that point? Fundamentally looking at the concept here, I don't necessarily think so. The problem with Dark Lords right now in a pure build is I just don't think it can work. I seen one build that tried to do well at its Yu-Gi-Oh! Day and it didn't really perform. The other build ended up winning and doing massively well because of the Melodious cards. Also, you do get easier fusion access through the Melodious stuff, which has been pretty cool. But those have been the only real Dark Lord builds that I've seen come together right now. Now, it's not to say in the next couple of days or weeks that other players might not be exploring this. I mean, there's plenty of good generic fairy access cards that we can kind of throw at a wall and have work out. I mean, it's just, it's the reality of the situation here that something might come out. But for now, the easiest thing to work with, I think, is Melodious. Just because you don't have to toss in a crap ton of cards, and we all know that, you know, Ostionato is a broken card, man. We've seen it time and time again with the Melodious cards. So, yes, give Melodious a shot. With this, I think you're just happy to hear the Dark Lords are doing okay. Dogmatika, oh boy. So, one of the coolest builds that I have seen has been Dogmatika, because Albazoa is a pain in the actual ass. But this has got to do with the Chronicles deck itself actually kind of changing things up. So the Chronicles deck actually brought the spell card, the Fallen and the Virtuous to the table, which actually allows you a Monster Reborn for the deck. Technically, you can also mill something that mentions the Fallen of Albaz from the extra deck for a pop, which I believe you are playing. If I recall correctly, in the Dogmatika list, you do play a couple of things that you can kind of yeet out of there with that. So basically, Monster Reborn gets bodies back on the field, and of course, you know, you're playing this deck as a ritual deck, so you're going to need to get that Herald out of the extra deck, which typically you can do Nadir Servant-wise, if I recall correctly. I mean, or Albazoa himself just yeets the stupid thing out of the extra deck. But that's not going to be much of a problem, right? Dogmatika as a whole still kind of suffers from, you know, kind of the same problems. It sometimes just turns into a consistency nightmare. And most of us don't really like that. As long as you play the game, the Dogmatika deck will rip apart your extra deck, or, you know, clear up your field. Whichever one Albazoa is going to come down for first. But also, where the pieces you're using for, I mean, you play, what, 1 Thunderbolt, 2 Thunderbolts, if that, for the Fleur-de-Lis. So, the old support looks pretty well for the deck. And then there has been the Spriggans. I did not think that I would see anybody looking at Spriggans as a deck, because one of the first lists I saw was a Fire Barrier statue in the deck, which you can't do that in the TCG. It's not allowed. They banned the Fire Barrier statue, which was, you know, an actual slap in the nuts, but I mean, it's okay. Spriggans did get 2 additional copies of Kit, which was 2 extra methods to make the deck more consistent. If there also was a discussion for what other potential end-board pieces that you needed, I think you could do some interesting other stuff with Fire. Or maybe you could pivot into another, you know, thing. We've also seen Tri-Brigade doing well previously, because, I mean, all of these new cards are just, they're bringing life into the subsection of decks, which I think has been great, man. I never thought that we would see Spriggans coming back to life as an actual choice for players. But instead, you know, as you're looking at the meta and you're seeing, you know, these potentially oddball choices coming back into the meta as rogue decks, you got to be aware of them. And I think Spriggans is doing pretty decent on that front. It and Dogmatika are pretty what the fuck choices that you could be bringing to a meta tournament. But hey, if it works out, it works out. You guys have a good rest of your day, alright? Patrons! Thank you!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.